Well, hey folks, relaunch with your Rentalones Rapid Fire episode 71. Got some wrestling news to talk about, stuff's been reported, and stay tuned for a special rant about Evolution, meaning absolutely nothing according to WWE, because they're already hyping Crown Jewel, which, by the way, women can't go to Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia has plenty of goddamn issues with women's wrestling. I'll get to that, don't worry. I'll actually put in the description, if you want to click on that, where that rant's going to be starting, so do not worry. That rant will happen, but I'm going to give my opinions on some of these news tidbits that are happening. So Rey Mysterio signed a WWE deal, 2-year WWE deal with an opt-out clause after 18 months if he's not happy with what they're doing with him. One, I was hoping he would Wrestle Kingdom, whether in a tag, whether in a singles match against Jushin Thunder Liger or something. I was really hoping that Rey would do that and then go WWE. His career, his life, he can do what he wants. That's the bottom line. But, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully he has a part-time schedule, not a full-time schedule. At his age, even with the fact he looks great, even with the fact he's in great shape, his knees would not hold up to a full-time schedule. So hopefully it's part-time TV. You know, maybe if he appears at a TakeOver or something like that, I don't think he would appear at TakeOver. But the bottom line is appear at big shows, appear on TV, appear at big shows, appear on maybe a house show here and there, but save his body and preserve it for, you know, the bigger matches. That's the way you got to use Rey Mysterio. That's the way they should have been using him even in 2014 before he left. But it is what it is. I'm happy for him. I wish him the best. Shout out to @Jeremy8911 who came up with the great idea of Rey taking the U.S. title from Nakamura and dropping it to Andrade Cien Almas at WrestleMania. Jeremy, keep coming up with those great ideas. Really, you do come up with a lot of them. Don't let the idiots get to you. Don't let the idiots get to you, man. But anyway, Rey, wishing the best. Honestly, wishing the best. Rey Fenix and Pentagon will not be going to WWE yet. They have contracts at MLW, and they cannot opt out of the Lucha Underground contracts for at least a year, or maybe at least until 2020. If not later, it really depends. But they're killing it. What little bit I've seen of MLW, they're killing it. They're killing it in Lucha Underground, but they're especially killing it in Impact. Honestly, 2 guys not going to WWE is not going to affect anything, so let's not get all upset about that. There's already enough talents in WWE that aren't being fucking used all that damn well, but no, let's have these 2 guys go there, and it can really be like a crowded lifeboat, or it can really be like WCW in the late 90s, where no one gets the fuck over because they have about 80,000 guys and about that much TV time. Now, to be fair, WWE does have a lot of TV time. They have 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, they have the Mixed Match Challenge going on. They have stuff like, you know, they have Mae Young Classic, they have NXT, they have 205 Live, they have NXT UK starting up soon, they got the pay-per-views, they got a ton of shit going on. 2 guys not going there is not that big of a deal. I wish him to be. Phoenix may have a bigger ceiling on there, because Pentagon, they'd have to water down too much, even though Pentagon's a tremendous talent. Bottom line is, let's not freak out over this stuff. It's not the end of the goddamn world. So speaking of what I said about all those, you know, all that TV time, WWE stars going, you know, have been going to NXT or appearing on NXT house shows in shocking fashion because creative has nothing for them, like Luke Harper, like Tyler Breeze, and various others I'm sure that have probably been reported and I just have totally forgotten about. I am for this. I am for people from Raw, SmackDown that aren't being used, tag teams, whatever, going to NXT, appearing on house shows, giving a boost to some of the guys in NXT. And also WWE's using 205 Live guys and other talents that aren't being used on TV as much, like Lio Rush, pairing with Bobby Lashley. However I feel about Lio Rush, it could be a good pairing. I am personally not fond of Lio Rush, but him and Lashley could be a fun, you know, little, it could be like the Big Dog, Little Dog cartoon. Hey Spike, hey Spike, hey Spike. It could be like that. Though given how the Little Dog got beat up quite a bit, I don't necessarily know if that's the best comparison, but that's what I think of. Or Scooby and Scrappy. I mean, it could come up with something like that. But they also have Drake Maverick as AOP's manager. And incorporating guys not just exclusive to one show is a good idea. Now, keep Raw and SmackDown separate. You need to do that because there are certain stars people tune in for on Mondays that they won't tune in for on Tuesdays, and vice versa. But since NXT and 205 Live are only 1 hour TV, incorporating them here and there, having them answer a U.S. Open Challenge, having them answer an IC title Open Challenge, having guys answer a, you know, tag title Open Challenge or something like that on either show could work. Do that on NXT where, like, say, current champions, the Undisputed Era are, you know, offering an Open Challenge. And, like, I don't know, the Good Brothers show up or something like that. Home of the Good Brothers, may I take your order? the idea is just incorporating people like that and doing that. It doesn't let people be stagnant. It keeps people fresh. It gives them fresh matchups. People can be shocked and like, okay, we have to go to these live events. It boosts live attendance numbers. It's a great idea to use that kind of stuff. Having people show up at, NXT or Raw or SmackDown or this kind of stuff is a good way to do it. And same with 205 Live. If they want to boost 205 Live, having people appear on Raw is like, okay, wait, these guys are on 205 Live? Let me check this shit out. So it's a pretty good idea and a good way to use the talent. So hopefully they continue to do it. They got enough goddamn talent. It's not like they can't use people like that. Alexa Bliss is injured. This is unfortunate. Apparently she has numbness, I believe, in her right arm. Her right arm or her left arm. I think it's her right arm. But it's possibly, they're trying to play it off like it's from Ronda Rousey's armbar, but it could be from spinal injuries. Hopefully that is not the case. Alexa, while not great in the ring, I can see that, is somebody that absolutely deserves the spot that she's gotten. Maybe a few too many title reigns. I do agree there. But her character work is dynamite. She has worked really, really well. Now, yeah, her trying to be dominant over a lot of the other women in the ring is pretty ridiculous. She should play more of a cowardly heel. But I'm going to say this much. Whether you like Alexa or whether you don't. It's like the whole thing that happened with Paige. Paige, unfortunately, had to retire early. Whether you like Paige or not. And by the way, the people blaming Sasha still for what happened with Paige, stop that. Seriously, stop that. Fucking knock it off. But with Alexa, hopefully some rest and rehab will help, and it is not anything too serious, and it's just precaution. And that's the thing that WWE is going to need to realize, is they're going to have to give certain talents some rotating time off, like for a month or something like that. And not even write them off TV unless they're in a hot angle. If they're not doing anything, have them off TV for a month to give them a chance to relax, to work out to this kind of stuff, to do some great things. Because like Jason Jordan, he might have to retire. And that's unfortunate because he's a breakout star. Really seemed like they were going somewhere with him. Hopefully, none of those reports are true and that he will actually be okay and that his neck will recover and he will be fine. It's looking like he might not be, though. And that is very, very sad if that is the case. So again, hopefully Alexa is going to be okay. And we'll see what happens there. And now, I'm going to talk about the two possible returns to the ring. One, I'm going to talk about Shawn Michaels returning to the ring to team with Triple H against the Brothers of Destruction at WWE's Crown Jewel. Never mind the fact that Triple H is the youngest goddamn guy in the ring at like 47, 48, something like that, which is saying something. That's really sad that he's the youngest guy in that match. So it's about 200 years of, of combined age in that match in four people. And I'm sorry, I know that I'm going to go to New Japan here just for a second. New Japan does do that where they will have a lot of the veterans like Yuji Nagata and a bunch of people, Makanishi and stuff like that. And I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry. I mean, I got to have my notes in front of me a lot. Kojima. A lot of people. They will have people in their late 40s and even into their 50s wrestle. There's one of their best talents, Minoru Suzuki, who's 50, who is wrestling really, really goddamn well and doing some dynamite work in the ring. And some dynamite character work as well. Well, gimmick work. He is great. Used right, using older talents is not necessarily a bad thing. And New Japan tends to get it right. Like Minoru's like one of the few that's 50 that's still featured in a prominent spot. A lot of them are featured in 6-man tags or 8-man tags and used to help out the young guys and win some matches here and there, but used really like to get on TV to placate the fans and this kind of stuff and give them a chance to get to be on the card, but they're being kind of phased out a little bit, like out of the main roster spots or main event spots at least, except Minoru. He was currently IWGP Intercontinental Champion. But anyway, back to Shawn returning to the ring. It is Shawn's choice. It is ultimately Shawn's choice what he wants to do. But if they couldn't coax him out of retirement to face AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble, a big show, this kind of stuff, whatever, why the hell is he coming back to at Saudi Arabia of all places? And look, nothing in Saudi Arabia. I want to say this much. The idiots that believe in, killing gay people over there and hating women and being all against women's rights, even though women did get the ability to drive recently, and LGBT rights, the ones that are against that, I mean, it doesn't matter what country you're in, you're wrong. Whether you agree with it or not, they are human beings and they do deserve to have those rights. There are people in Saudi Arabia, I'm sure, that want progressive change, and that is fantastic, and I'm not knocking anybody there. Does the current Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia want progressive change? It seems like it. I hope it's the case, and it's not just window dressing. But why is Shawn Michaels coming back to the ring in Saudi Arabia? It's called money. They made $45 million, apparently, from the Greatest Royal Rumble show. Somewhere around that, 45 to 50 million. That's insane. So they could throw $250,000 or even $500,000 at Shawn if they really fucking wanted to do that. And I'm sure that Shawn would do it. Now, Shawn did leave the ring at WrestleMania 26, right after WrestleMania 26. He wanted to go home and watch his kids grow up, and he had done everything he needed to in the ring. And I remember his comment, like, I'm going to drive my kids nuts in 3 weeks. The thing about Shawn, though, I wish that Shawn had come back sooner if he was going to come back at all. But he was one of the ones where it's like, he didn't really need to do anything anymore. So no, I'm not necessarily sold on him returning. It is his life, it's his career, whatever. If his family signed off on it, WWE signed off on it, and most importantly, Shawn signed off on it, great. And if he's happy with what he's doing, great. But this just proves that any person can be brought back with just enough money, no matter, morals or any of that kind of bullshit or whatever. It doesn't really fucking matter. But it is what it is. If Shawn coming back for a big payday, okay. It might help put his kids through college. I'm sure Shawn saved his money pretty damn well. He seems to be doing fine outside WWE, and I'm sure they pay him per appearance or they pay him when he comes to the Performance Center and this kind of stuff. So, okay. To me, this is where I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent. This is where I'm going to go back to New Japan in just a second. This match highlights WWE not having faith in their current roster. Excuse me. Look at the Universal title match. They brought back Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is going to be in the triple threat match against Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. Now, however I feel about Roman Reigns, he has cut his teeth and busted his ass for a number of years. Whether he's gotten those spots just because, whether he's earned them, whether Vince has felt that he's just going to give them to him, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's still there every single day and has got it out through a whole lot of injuries. Braun Strowman has got out through a lot of injuries and has done a whole lot of great shit despite all the stupid booking they keep fucking giving him. But they had to bring Brock Lesnar in. They couldn't just have Braun versus Reigns again. They just couldn't have that. They couldn't just leave the whole thing with Brock well enough alone. Now, I get it. Okay, they want to maybe blow off the whole thing with Brock, and maybe Braun will get the paint. Braun won't. There's no way Braun's winning in Saudi Arabia. I just don't see it happening. But they're bringing back these guys. I know that Brock was only gone like about 3 weeks. Barely even a month. I think actually just close to a month by the time Hell in a Cell came up. But the whole point is he was already passé. I didn't care about him anymore. The vast majority of people didn't. Sorry. If you care about Brock coming back, great, whatever. That's cool. But then you look at Shawn and Triple H and Taker and Kane. Kane doesn't even need to be wrestling anymore. But WWE did make a sizable donation to a fund or whatever, and because Kane is the mayor of Knox County, and that's great for him. I know it's for nostalgia pop. I get it. Apparently Saudi Arabia wants a lot of the older superstars and everything, and okay, but this just undervalues so many of the current superstars, where they have them in the Performance Center, where they have them on Raw or SmackDown. This devalues every single main roster performer, because it's like, hey, we know you guys can draw, but we don't feel you guys can draw enough. We're going to bring back these old guys. It just doesn't serve any purpose. It's exactly what WCW did. They wouldn't let the old guys get out of the way. Oh, hi, Chris Jericho from New Japan, still IWGP Intercontinental Champion. I didn't see you there. It's on the list here, by the way. The list. Shocking that I mentioned Jericho there. I love Chris Jericho. He's one of the greatest of all time. He truly is. He keeps reinventing himself. I was all for him coming to New Japan. I was all for him becoming IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Because I'm like, okay, he'll hold it for a bit. He'll drop it to somebody like Evil or something like that, because Naito will be freed up to win the G1. Okay, I was wrong about both of them. Well, maybe. I was wrong about Naito winning the G1 for sure, because Tanahashi won. Still curious to see what they do with Naito. But anyway, Jericho has not defended the title. He's made one appearance, and that was at All In. So much for him not appearing at U.S. shows because he didn't want to piss off Vince, but whatever. It is what it is. I don't fucking care. Honestly, I don't fucking care. And Jericho may even appear on Impact, and apparently WWE and Impact held a secret meeting that apparently everybody already knew about. I don't know if it has to do with footage being used or a sale, and honestly, I don't care at this point. Impact's doing some good shit. If they want to sell, if it turns out they want to sell, okay. If it just turns out it's about footage used, great. Whatever. As long as it benefits both companies, I don't care. Honestly, I know Impact's done a lot of good shit. I just don't invest that much time with them anymore. But I know a lot of people do. Check out WWE NXT guys' reviews. He will review Impact here and there, especially the pay-per-views. He does some really good shit. And at WrestleRant, he will he will post some great articles about Impact, and also about and even do reviews of past events. And I will also be doing a past review, a review of a past Bound for Glory, 2008. That'll come up sometime in October. So anyway, Shawn can do what he fucking wants. Jericho can do what he fucking wants. All these veterans can do what they want. But back to Jericho. Jericho complained about how WCW couldn't get the old guys out of the way. Now Jericho approaching 50. I think he's 40. I think he's 48. I was going to say 47. I think he was born in 1970. So he's 48. He's almost 49. This is pretty much his last hurrah. I mean, if he'll probably wrestle at Wrestle Kingdom, drop the Intercontinental title, maybe make a couple more appearances. But I think next year is about his last year. Who knows? Maybe he does one more and wrestles at age 50. As I mentioned, Minoru Suzuki wrestles pretty damn well at age 50, 60. He probably could wrestle still well at age 62. I'm not going to tell him otherwise because I want to live. But Jericho complained about that, complained about the old guys, and then it turns out that he's just one of those old guys that doesn't want to get out of the way of the younger guys. Now, yes, he did put over Kenny Omega, and he did beat Tetsuya Naito. Do I think that he's not going to be? Do I think he's not going to put somebody over for the title a little bit later? Yeah, he probably will. But to me, I forgot the Intercontinental title existed, and that's the whole thing. Is now it's becoming like Brock Lesnar, where the title isn't defended at all. I know the 3 months, in comparison to like 500 days, or whatever it was, or something like that, or 450 something days. Maybe it was 500 days. The whole point is, I know that it takes. It's all about, you know, getting the right challengers to face them, and it's all about storytelling. And heel moves are like, okay, I'm not going to face anybody until there's a worthy challenger. I get that, but it just devalues a lot of the younger guys and a lot of the better guys that they have in New Japan. And then you go back to WWE again. It's all Shawn. It's Shawn's career. It's his life. I'm just not sold on this tag match because I really don't need to see 4 guys that shouldn't be wrestling anymore in a goddamn ring. Now, I will be reviewing Super Showdown. I may be reviewing that in chunks. I might have to work that day. I will review Evolution, obviously. And I will be reviewing WWE's Crown Jewel. And the reason is because you guys like hearing my rants, like hearing my reviews. So I'm going to do it for you guys. And also because I am a wrestling fanatic and I will sit and watch this stuff. But this is one thing that's going to make me go absolutely goddamn nuclear, is if Hulk Hogan returns at Crown Jewel. Let me tell you right now, if Hulk Hogan returns at Crown Jewel, after they wouldn't do right by a whole lot of talents, whether putting them in the Hall of Fame or this kind of stuff before they died, like Vader or Chyna. However I feel about Chyna's in-ring ability, character-wise, I can totally understand why she should be in the Hall of Fame. And yes, she should have been inducted well before Sunny. I'm sorry, Chyna, much more influential than Sunny because Chyna, for all her faults, and yes, she had a lot of them, and unfortunately, it seemed like they took her life too soon. Seemed like she was trying to make a little bit better of it, and Sunny just never did. Chyna also took bumps, Sunny never did, but Sunny also didn't want to be a wrestler. She knew about wrestling. The whole point is they could have inducted Vader. They fucking didn't. They could have inducted Randy Savage, who was better than Hulk Hogan ever was. Brother. They could have inducted him before he died, but they didn't because Vince wanted to hold a goddamn grudge. And that's what I believe. And they induct a whole bunch of other people, but they won't. They bring back other people and stuff like that. They brought back Ultimate Warrior. And by the way, that's another person that they wanted for the greatest Royal Rumble. Well, Saudi Arabia did. But, oh yeah, Ultimate Warrior kind of had a bad case of the death from 4 years before. But, you know, they're homophobic over there, so of course they would have wanted Ultimate Warrior. The government, the people over there that still believe in that shit. Not everybody in Saudi Arabia. Can't cover with a blanket statement there. But if Hogan returns, then you'll want to tune in for the mother of all rants on that show, on that review. You will want to tune in for that, because it will be one of the biggest slaps in the face. Hogan has meant nothing to wrestling for 10 plus years. He didn't do anything for Impact besides inflate their budget. He barely increased their ratings. Sorry, their global presence wasn't really all that increased. Yes, they drew some bigger crowds at pay-per-views, but they had plenty of talents that could have done that if not WWE, but Impact, Dixie Carter in particular, had just marketed them correctly, but she didn't know what the fuck she was doing, because she's an example of somebody that shouldn't have been in the wrestling business. You should have smart people in charge of the wrestling business in various companies, not idiots like her. But now, Hogan coming back, whatever. Let's bring back a guy that's near 70 goddamn years old. Let's not bring back anybody that, could serve a purpose. Let's not, like with Jake Roberts. Jake Roberts should have made an appearance at the Royal Rumble, but they didn't have him do that. He did get inducted into the Hall of Fame, the same as Scott Hall. There are so many people, legends they could use correctly, and I'm not saying the legends should be forgotten about. Not one fucking bit. Not at all. But do not fucking tell me that Hogan coming back serves a purpose other than nostalgia pop. That's all it fucking is. The guy can't wrestle anymore. The guy really wasn't able to wrestle much past his match with The Rock at WrestleMania 18 in 2002, by the way. So coming up on almost 17 years. Yeah, he had other matches after that, but he really couldn't move. He was pretty much largely immobile. But no, it's a slap in the face of the black athletes, men and women that are in WWE. And even ones that could be signing to WWE were like, hey, this guy said a whole bunch of hateful things and covered you guys with a blanket statement, but we're going to bring him back because he made us a lot of money years and years and years ago, and he said he was sorry. He's not sorry. He's sorry he got caught. That's the whole thing about Hogan. Hogan's sorry he got caught. He doesn't actually care. I guarantee you he does not care. I guarantee you that if that tape had never leaked out, he would not have ever apologized for anything. Or if, or he would still probably be making money in WWE and everything, and we would all be worse for it, because he was a terrible judge on Tough Enough, because he doesn't know about judging talent. Hogan is one of the biggest superstars of all time. Ever. Ever. There is no doubt about that. But he is not wanted anymore. He is not needed anymore. If you guys are a fan of Hulk Hogan, I do apologize for not telling you ahead of time that I was going to rant about him. But you guys probably should have guessed. Now, again, I stress this is a possible rumor. It may not even fucking happen. But if he comes back, in Saudi Arabia, it might be the best choice. I sure as fuck hope he doesn't come back in a couple weeks when I'm at Raw in Seattle. Because if he does, I'm going to boo the shit out of him. And hopefully everybody else does too. But not that I think Seattle of all places would get that nod. But Hogan coming back would be an atrocity. Do I expect it to happen? Oh, I absolutely expect it to happen. I expect to go full nuclear on the rant. So anyway, WWE devaluing Evolution already by announcing the Crown Jewel is going to happen 5 days later. Now, they had made a deal with Saudi Arabia for, I think, 10 years to run multiple shows there, a year. So I get that. I knew one was coming up. I knew it was probably going to come up soon, sometime after Evolution. Or maybe even right after Super Showdown. I'm actually amazed it didn't happen in October. But anyway, the Evolution pay-per-view already feels like an afterthought. They announced Alexa versus Trish ridiculously. People had to leak it because they just announced it, I think, during the TakeOver Brooklyn 4 show. Or like during the kickoff panel, stuff like that. It was like they showed a graphic of it and people screenshot it. And I'm just like, it's a weird way to announce it. Lita versus Mickie James got announced, just shoved in there. I was like, oh, hey, this match is happening. They're going to have Nikki Bella versus Ronda, which is a terrible idea. I want the women to do well. The women deserve this pay-per-view. They do. Even the ones that I don't necessarily care for in the ring, Carmella in particular. Even the Bellas. Every single woman, maybe not the Bellas. Because I'm sorry, the Bellas are passe, but every single woman has worked super hard, especially in the past few years, to get this happening. There are a ton of women that they signed from the indies that have done really, really well. Ruby Riott is, to name one, is somebody that should be facing Ronda. I'm sorry, Ruby Riott versus Ronda would be a better choice. They're going to go for Nikki versus Ronda because they hate us. Evolution already feels like an afterthought, which is unfortunate, because Evolution should not be an afterthought. You know why it shouldn't be an afterthought? Because the women have worked hard for this. There are 2 matches, maybe 3 matches announced for this thing already. Now, they have a month to do this. And people say, oh, they got to get Super Showdown out of the way. Then that leaves them 3 goddamn weeks. 3 weeks. And by the time they get to Raw, that will leave them a little 20 days to get hype for Evolution up. They'll have the Mae Young Classic finals, which I know what they are, and I'm not going to spoil them here, and please do not spoil them in the comments. That will be a good match, how much I will say. It would have been a good match regardless of who made it. Maybe they'll have SmackDown tag team, or not SmackDown. Maybe they'll have women's tag team titles they're going to introduce and spread across all 3 brands. Like have the champions go from Raw to SmackDown to NXT, and that would be good. They will hopefully have, some good title matches. They will, if they make the card layered and add some good stuff to it, I'm for it. It's a leaked Evolution card as anything, as anything to go by. It ain't going to be all that great. But I want to give it a chance. But I do want to say this. My hype for it is a little bit lower because Vince McMahon's apparently going to be in charge of Evolution. Vince McMahon, who hates women's wrestling. And he does. He does. I know it's his choice what goes on TV. But him and Kevin Dunn hate women's wrestling. I'm convinced of it. Convinced of it, if you will. But Evolution is every woman's chance here to show. Now, in WWE, Impact's been doing it for a number of years. I'm not trying to discount Impact. Impact was doing it on one-night onlys, and they did all Impact and all knockout pay-per-views that were seen by tens of people. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's just Impact didn't market them at all. And a lot of people illegally streamed them, which just undercut all the hard work that the women had. But the women deserve a big chance where, hey, we got this pay-per-view and everything. And hey, ladies, we're giving you this pay-per-view. You go out there and earn it, tear the house down and everything. Oh, by the way, we're going to Saudi Arabia for a goddamn shitload of money. And that's basically what they're fucking doing, is slapping them in the goddamn face. And they're slapping Sonya Deville in the face. They're slapping any other LGBT, talents that they have. I don't know if they have any others. Forgive me if I don't know. I know Sonya is the one that's open about it. Any others that they have, that's fantastic. I just don't know if they have anybody that's open. But that's just slapping everybody in the face. That's just absolutely goddamn ridiculous. So do not fucking tell me that WWE actually cares about, their women. Do not fucking tell me that they do. They don't. This Crown Jewel show absolutely fucking proves it. So it's abysmal. I will watch this stuff, as I said, because you guys enjoy my reviews and I enjoy reviewing these and interacting with you guys. But WWE is just proving, yes, it's about money. If they can make any kind of progressive change, help any kind of progressive change in Saudi Arabia, great. But it just seems like such a slap in the face of the goddamn women, whether everybody involved intends to or not. It is fucking rotten. It is absolutely goddamn rotten. And that's all I gotta say about it. So anyway, yeah, this is a bit of a long rant, but thank you guys for putting up with all this stuff. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Twitter handle, in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.